Let's talk a little Auburn recruiting, and news broke on Friday night that Zion Elee, the number one on threes, number one overall player, took a official visit to Auburn. Now, news broke that he took the official visit on May 16th, but the actual official visit took place on May 9th to May 11th. So, Jeffrey Lee, why were you breaking news on May 16th about a major visit that went down 5 days prior?
Well, it was kind of a clandestine visit. It was kind of under the rug. He wanted to keep it quiet. He didn't want anyone knowing that he was visiting other schools
Because he's committed to Maryland.
Because he's committed to Maryland, and he has said for weeks now, my recruitment is shut down.
Yep.
I'm 100% committed to Maryland, and that proved to not be true because Friday night, and it wasn't so much that the timing of it, but it was how it was revealed. He himself put out there the official visit pictures from his Auburn visit, which was very surprising to anybody who knew he was in town. So that was it was something. But come to find out, he had informed Maryland and wanted to, how kids are with these official visit pics.
Yeah, you gotta have them.
Got to have them. And then
is it a visit if you don't take the pictures in the full gear? Is it really even a visit?
No, but he was pretty candid with me, after I contacted him after he released those those pictures, and said, hey, I had a great time at Auburn, but I'm 100% committed to Maryland, which, these days that means very little.
Well, because the full quote that he gave you is, quote, I'm still 100% committed to Maryland and my recruitment is still closed. Now, he had committed to Maryland. He had 4 or 5 official visits set to take. He said at the time, this was back in March, my recruitment is closed. I'm going to cancel all my official visits. So now he pops up at Auburn, takes one of those officials, and then says his recruit. So did he briefly open that recruitment just to close it again? What?
He opened the window, stuck his head in, and
then shut it again.
Then shut it back. Yeah, it's but to be honest with you, the relationships he has with Auburn, Wayne Dorsey, the former St. Francis Academy coach, Rock Bellantoni, Hugh Freeze, DJ Durkin, especially with DJ Durkin in that school. I don't. He had initially said it for June the 6th, and even though he shut it down, I think behind the scenes Auburn was still expecting him to come in. Now that's going to be a big weekend for Auburn. So in order to get him in on a quiet weekend, they moved it up to a weekend that nobody knew. Nobody was going to be there. They snuck him in, snuck him out, and then 5 days later he's like, "Yeah, I was there, by the way."
So if you're on the Maryland side of things, you're thinking, well, he took a visit when he said he wasn't going to. This can't be good. But then also if you're like on the Auburn side of things, if you're an Auburn fan, you're looking at this and you're like, well, he came and visited us, but he didn't say anything. He doesn't want to talk about it. So like which side should feel good about this new development?
Well, this is kind of how I pitched it to Auburn fans. If he were committed to Auburn and said all those on my recruitment's closed, I'm shutting it down, no more visits, I'm done, I'm committed to to Auburn, and then we find out he went and took a little clandestine visit to Maryland, I think Auburn fans would be extremely worried about what was taking place behind the scenes. So, in my opinion, I think it bodes well for Auburn. He said all these things before the visit. He snuck in, then he says all the right things for Maryland after the visit. If I'm an Auburn fan, I'm feeling pretty good about what transpired over the last 7 days.
Okay. So what do you think? Set visits at 0.5. Do you take the over or under for Zion Elee between now and September 1 to Auburn? You taking the over or under?
September 1, I'll take the under.
Okay, so you don't think he's going to visit again before the season starts?
I think he could be back for a game.
Okay.
give me December 1st and I'll take the over. September 1st, I'll take the under.
So you don't think that this recruitment is closed?
No, absolutely not.
All right, we'll leave it there. We know this is gonna be something that we keep an eye on for a while now. Do you think there's any other teams besides Auburn that we could be talking about down the road?
To my knowledge, no.
Yeah, it doesn't seem that way yet until we see him
possibly
post another. I think it's funny he keeps it quiet, and then he's the one that kind of puts it all out there and blows it all up. So, all right, I don't know how to take that, but we will keep an eye on it. Vodney Cleveland, let's talk about the defensive lineman. He was on campus this weekend for his official visit that we knew about. We knew he was coming in. He took it. He talked about it. What did he say afterward?
Entering the visit, Auburn was a tier 2 school for him.
Right.
You know, Florida, Miami, who else was in there? Texas. All three of those schools, I think, were tier 1 schools for him. Auburn was a tier 2 guy, tier 2 school. Leaving the visit, he's like, man, Auburn helped itself a lot. Auburn's now a tier 1 school for me if not gunning for that number 1 spot. So I think Auburn made a big move for Vodney Cleveland this weekend.
All right. A couple other prospects that of interest to me was Pensacola edge Trenton Henderson. He was in town for that official visit. Do the Tigers lead coming out of this one?
Possibly. Obviously not publicly, but I think there's a lot of confidence at Auburn. I think the relationships he has with Rock Bellantoni, who came up from FAU, FIU. I don't know. Anyways, there's a big connection there with Rock, and Trenton already liked Auburn. I think Auburn's probably considered, at least presumably, the team to beat with him.
Yeah, I felt that way. All right, what else do Auburn fans need to know coming out of this big official visit weekend?
Made a big splash with Tank Jones. I thought getting him back on campus after visiting, I think, for Big Cat just a month ago was a big deal for Auburn. Who else was? I'm gonna tell you what, Josh. Keep an eye on Brody Jennings, 4-star cornerback from Mandarin in Jacksonville, Florida. He's committed to Michigan, but he visited this past weekend, and man, I tell you what, he had some really good things to say about Auburn. His family was with him, his brother, his mom, his dad. All of those, all of his family members had a fantastic time at Auburn, and I really feel like Auburn's a big threat to Michigan for him. Ernest Rankins was in town. Auburn, Georgia, and I wouldn't argue with somebody who said Auburn might be the team to beat right now. Obviously, Georgia's going to be tough to beat. They always are if they want a kid, especially in-state. Dalton Toothman, Deron Parks, 2 offensive linemen that were on campus. I think Auburn's in very good position for Toothman and making maybe even creating some separation even more with Toothman and maybe even Deron Parks. Now, Ohio State and some others are going to have a say in his recruitment, but I like where Auburn stands with both of those offensive linemen.
Productive weekend out on the plains. Auburn Live has you guys covered. Go check them out.